welcome to everyone who's here, and also welcome to everyone who's watching this behind. We have three gentlemen from Scannable here, which is a great product to keep track of your inventory and your gear, and also very, very relevant for the Arborist segment. And that's why we thought we'd take an opportunity to, get them on board and explain a little bit of the product from the founders and the team themselves. As we've stocked Scannable products for quite a while now, but we haven't really gotten the momentum which we do think it deserves here in Sweden and Europe in general as well. So that's why we thought it would be interesting for them to give a little bit of a picture and overview that you can either watch now, ask your questions now, or of course watch back later and see how that would apply to your company. And then we'll also get back to at the end of this if there are any like open questions, or if how you go about ordering this from Arborist Boutique and implementing it in your everyday life. So I'm happy to handing over to, I'm not sure who I'm handing over to, maybe Rob or Matt, either or Nick. Yeah, go take it away.
I'll take the reins here. Herman, thanks for the lovely intro. Just to introduce myself, Rob will be steering the ship today, but just good morning, good evening, or whatever time it is that you're watching. I'm Matt, I'm part of the Scannable team, and between Rob, Nick and myself, we look after Scannable's customers. So if this conversation goes beyond this webinar and we end up progressing the conversation, then you'll be getting to know us three quite well. So I'm really excited for the session today, and thanks for joining. Probably over to Nick.
Hey, yeah, so my name's Nick, and happy to be here and to be able to show you guys around Scannable. My role in the organization is support and success. So once you've come on board as a customer, then I help you get the most out of Scannable. So it's always pretty exciting to help people streamline their processes, make everything that they've got nice and ordered, and then make everything downstream of that easy to do, because if it's easy, it gets done, and that's what we want.
The new tagline right there. Yeah, cool. So thanks, Herman and guys. My name's Rob. I'm one of the co-founders of Scannable. And yeah, thanks very much, Herman and Anders, whenever you tune in and listen to this, for suggesting that you're going to do this webinar. And it's been a pleasure working with you guys so far. So great idea to put this together to really kind of unpack some of the supposed mystery and actually show people how simple we've made things here. So we've got a kind of a short agenda of a couple of key points that predominantly I'll be talking to here, and I'm going to share my screen. We're going to keep it pretty tight as a session. I'd like to kind of just walk you through the backstory of Scannable, give you a demo, and introduce some of the partnerships that we have in the market with different manufacturers as well. So I'll just pull the screen up. And you guys should be seeing that. Awesome. So Scannable exists to streamline safety. And we do that by building what we think are the simplest tools and the most modern technology tools to solve this problem of how to manage your safety equipment. But the backstory behind Scannable is really that I guess through my exposure to the industry at DMM before starting Scannable, I was the product manager there and kind of had a crack at solving this problem once before using RFID technology. Some of you might have seen that come through from DMM, and then also from other brands like Arborist as well. And the concept was good, and everybody had to ask, is this the VHS or is this the Betamax? Or to put that into the kind of 21st century, is this the MP3 player or is this the mini disc player? And yeah, there was a lot of awesome solutions there with RFID, but ultimately the market has been telling myself and the other brands that we work with that basically there's two key aspects. It needs to be mobile phone compatible, and it needs to be working across all of the different brands of equipment, because a solution from DMM or Arborist or Petzl, for example, is biased to one platform, one manufacturer. And really, if you think about your favorite platform that you listen to music on, it's probably not a Michael Jackson app or a name another band app, it's the Spotify or iTunes of the world. So that's really what we've tried to build here, is the Spotify for safety equipment. Hopefully, if you haven't looked at our website after this, you might go and do so. I recommend it. We try and tell a relatively simple message to understand. That is the tip of the iceberg for us. And the message is that we are the easiest app for gear management. We've built apps for mobile phone and for using on your browser, on your laptop. We've also built the world's smallest and most durable mobile phone compatible tags. They are a part of the RFID family, but we use near field communication or NFC tags. And if any of you have used your phone for wireless or contactless payments, it's exactly the same technology that we use. And then underpinning the app and the tags is a growing database. This slide needs to be updated. We reached the over 30,000 product numbers or SKUs from different manufacturers this week, which is a big milestone for us. So those are the three components that you'll typically handle and see on a daily basis using Scannable. But I really want to introduce to you the broader concept of Scannable as well, which is kind of what we call the iceberg, you know, the thing you can't see under the surface. And that's this concept of one platform that connects the vertical world. And it looks a bit like this. We know the pain that equipment owners have, and we've done, I guess, what you would call from engineering speak, a root cause analysis. What is the underpinning problem? Why is it so hard for arborists or rope access technicians to look after and manage your PPE or PSA? What is the acronym, Herman, in Sweden for PPE, PSA?
We really just do call it PPE as well. If you look at our website, it's all called PPE.
PPE.
Like Swedish is one of those languages where we borrow a lot of those more modern acronyms from English.
Well, I won't keep translating it then. That's easy. Thank you.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
So why is it so tricky? Well, basically, the problem doesn't start with you. It starts with the manufacturers, and I can say that having been a manufacturer of PPE for over 6 years. And manufacturers struggle to really group together all the information that you need to do your jobs. And then when it goes out into the marketplace, retailers don't typically have the tools to maintain rope traceability at the level that they look for. And when they sell the equipment onto you, they're selling the hardware, and it's up to you to go to the Petzl website, for example, and copy and paste any information that you want to for that particular brand and to put it somewhere that you choose or not. You're probably going to grab the gear, do your inspections, make sure it's safe to use, and go to work. But by solving the problems all the way through the supply chain, we make the end product super easy for you guys to use. To give you a bit of an example of that, we have brought on Vertical Supply Group with their brands Notch, Rope Logic, and Sterling Ropes as a customer. Just one of the examples of the customers we have signed and currently manufacturing with Scannable. And they are actually embedding Scannable NFC tags directly into their new chainsaw pants, for example, and a range of other PPE and non-PPE items that arborists will be using from the Notch brand. And so this is just a bit of a walkthrough here that you would get if you buy these trousers and you scan the QR code that says, "What do I do now?" It'll tell you that you can download our free app, create a free account, hit the NFC button, tap your trousers, and have access to all of the information relevant to those trousers. And it might not be that you categorically need all of those bits of information, but it's a reference of the PPE that you own. And we really perceive that to have the value, whether you're an individual, a medium company, or even a multinational, ultimately knowing what you own and when you bought it can be really important. And then additionally, when was the last time you checked it, and how up to date are you with all of your inspections. We work with manufacturers here not just to give you a gimmick on the phone, but actually to deliver you really valuable content as well. So we can deliver you YouTube video instruction videos, care and maintenance instructions, and all of the PDFs relevant here. So this is an NFC solution. Equally, you'll start to see Notch equipment come out with a data matrix, which means that you can scan it with our free app and access that same amount of information and save it to your equipment list, for example. So that's just a bit of a walkthrough or an example of the value that Scannable provides to manufacturers in order to plug back into this ecosystem here, and some of the convenience that we can bring to you. And you'll start to see a bit more of that as I walk you through the demo. Just gonna double check the time. So that's the end of the slideshow in terms of graphics and pictures like this. I want to give you guys a bit of a high resolution tour of what do the actual tags look like on the product. And then I'm going to dive into how to use the software. This is one of our most popular tags and one of our most innovative tags. Until now, there wasn't a really appropriate or durable solution to make your carabiner talk to your phone. And this is was the world's smallest and most durable NFC tag, which allows you to do that. From January onwards, we will have production stock available of our next generation carabiner tag as well, which is 30% smaller than Gen 1 and has no hard surfaces and really gets flush with or below flush with the outside edge of the carabiner. You guys are some of the first in the world to lay eyes on these little pills. They might look big on screen. They're actually exactly the same size as the carabiner tag with a round surface on the bottom. And we are bringing these to market to go inside the tails and potentially inside the splices of your ropes so that you can...
John?
Yeah, please jump in.
How on the carabiner there, is it glued onto or is it placed there in by the manufacturer, or how do we secure that it doesn't fall off?
Yeah, it's all of these tags are sold to you to fit to your own equipment today. We are working with manufacturers who are trying to embed these tags into their products during manufacture, but the carabiner solutions today are retrofit. And so we suggest that you use a 2-part epoxy resin. And we've written a blog about all of the different options that we find commonly available on the market that you can choose from. And there's a chance that we're actually going to start making that available through our retail partners as well.
Okay.
It can be really quick. It's definitely a mental barrier. When am I going to find the time to tag 100 carabiners? That's the biggest challenge, is getting past the mental barrier. Once you've got your glue in your hand and your carabiners on your desk and your tags, you can get through them at really efficient speed. You know, I'm talking like a couple of minutes per 10 or 20 tags to drop the glue on them each and then drop the tags in. And yeah, I can pull up, I don't have it super handy, but I can pull up a YouTube video of one of our heavier handed Australian rope access companies testing the tag against the sharp edge of a steel table, and it survives. So I'll pull that up and show you. Do feel free to keep just interrupting me as I work my way through this with any questions, you know, as they come up. This is the latest version of, thanks Matt, the self-adhesive product. It's actually no longer called this because it's slightly bigger. Again, this is the second generation that we've been through. We've had this product in the market for 12 months now. By and large, everybody's incredibly excited and happy with it, but we saw the opportunity to make them more durable, and so we took that before we ordered another production batch. Some customers are using them like this. I definitely wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Certainly not arborists, but we do see some people trying to do this or this. This one's getting better success with rope access companies, but we have a improved solution again on top of this coming out, hopefully by the end of the year. This is the jack of all tags, or the jote, as we affectionately call it, and it is great because it doesn't compress fiber like a zip tie. If you were to put a zip tie on a round sling, for example, so that floats on the webbing, and it also fits really well onto webbing on harnesses. But we've started to work with manufacturers, like I said, who are actually sewing in NFC tags into round slings, which is a much better solution actually for this particular product category. The jotes are still really popular, and we see them getting used in places like anchor points as well in rope access. This is our helmet sticker with approved adhesive, keeping all the manufacturers happy. We recommend it goes on the inside of the helmet where it's nice and smooth and protected. But once that you've put that on, you can actually just tap your phone to the outside of the helmet on the opposite side of the plastic from the tag and scan it and identify your helmet to perform an inspection. So you don't have to necessarily go rummaging into the back of the webbing. This is our current rope label. It has two objectives. We sell it retrofit to end users to put on your existing ropes, and we also sell it with the heat shrink that you can see here, which gets great reviews by itself. Also, the reason the label is so wide is that it's designed to be printed to by our specific printer that we sell to partners like Arborist Boutique in order that they can print mobile phone compatible rope labels with every length of rope that's cut and spliced. And these guys are, we've got, I think, over 2,000 lengths of rope per month going into the market around the world with scannable rope labels on them at the moment. So that makes customers' lives really easy. For example, one of an early customer for us is Davey Tree Care in the US, and when they receive their ropes, they literally just tap it on our reader and ping, everything is saved into their inventory and off they go to work. Super quick. We are predominantly mobile phone based, but if you want to use Scannable on the laptop, we recommend buying one of these. It's an NFC reader, a USB reader, and it allows you to have like a supermarket checkout experience that I'm going to show you shortly as well. And these are $60 US at retail, so they're very affordably priced compared to any of the RFID readers that I've tried to sell for DMM, for example, in my past. This is an example of the printer. We don't expect many arborists to buy one of these, but you can see it's got our software and installed on it, and it's an API integration with the printer, so you can basically hit print on a new rope label and out it comes, and it's the easiest solution that any rope splicer or cutter has seen to date. So we're working really closely with brands like Teufelberger. They're not an official customer yet, but we're trying to show them how much easier we make it to be compliant with the splice program, for example, there as well. So that is enough of the slideshow. What I'm going to do now is pull up the mobile phone and the web app. Should have had this bit done already.
Rob, hi, it's Anders here.
Hey, Anders.
Hi. I was just thinking on the behalf of Johan there, who for VLAN, which is the Arborist education in Sweden. We had a chat on this when we made a delivery, and they have a lot of other gear as well. Very expensive equipment in terms of chainsaws and other tools, power tools that they use in their daily business. Maybe we want to touch base a little bit on what options they have to mark up, the chainsaws and, the other machinery that they have, the jack of all tags. Of course, zip ties could be one solution to mark, the saw, or even other, on metal tags inside, the devices. So
yeah,
is
absolutely.
that something you can quickly touch on?
Yeah, no, certainly. So yeah, every customer that we sell into at the moment isn't limiting themselves to PPE or safety equipment. They really see the opportunity to manage all of the hard to manage assets in their business using scannable tags, to the point where we're even now looking at vehicle tags as well, so that you can perform multi-point inspections on your cranes or your chippers or whatever. That is a more complicated inspection process. So the current solution that we see going on to chainsaws at the moment is the on metal tag. It doesn't have to go on metal, it can go on plastic, but it means that if there is metal close underneath the plastic, there's no interference, because typically, and I probably haven't highlighted this, but metal and radio waves don't play nicely together. And that's why it's taken so long to come to market with a good RFID or NFC solution. Metal tends to interfere an awful lot with those waves. So our products are really novel, not just for climbing, but globally, to have such a small tag that can be isolated from metal and still read really quickly with your mobile phone. So that's going on to chainsaws. We do have zip ties, like you say, Anders. Why is that not loading? Yeah, these guys here, which are nice and generic. You can put those on just about anything. And I'm trying to think of any particular equipment we see used. We're getting questions at the moment about tagging clothing, which isn't necessarily obvious with any particular tag that we have here. We are starting to work with a couple of different clothing manufacturers to put the tags on during manufacture. And if we keep hearing the demand for managing textile products like clothing, we'll be certainly bringing a solution to solve that problem as well. At the moment, the strength of Scannable comes a lot because we've done a lot of work with the data, and you don't have to do almost any manual data entry for climbing gear, but you can add any piece of equipment you want into the platform using our products opportunity up here. So I probably will just use that segue to introduce you to the web app and the mobile app. I'm just going to reopen the app. So this is what it looks. This is actually a brand new app, and as you've looked at us closely, of course, over the last 12 months. But as of yesterday, this app is now available in the iOS store. The Android release will come on Monday, but it's a brand new app. And the reason for that was we went really fast in the first 6 months at Scannable to build an app to put out into the Arborist and rope access community free of charge, to offer a solution and validate and kind of test and validate, is there a demand really for this? We've had over 14,000 app downloads over the last 12 months. And on top of that, we've had a huge response from many different work at high industries saying, your Scannable app is great, the free one's great, it looks really easy to use and intuitive, but it's not appropriate, of course, for medium to large operators. We really need a proper asset management solution. And we said, okay, let's go to work and build Scannable Pro, the paid upgrade to Scannable Access, which is our free tier. But we didn't want to build Scannable Pro and all of the incredible features on our roadmap on top of a app that was built quickly in order to test and validate the market. So we went from the beginning and we rebuilt this app from the ground up, and it is really robust and powerful. And anyone that has used the app previously and seen potentially any parts of it that weren't as smooth or robust will notice a real big improvement with this. What I'm going to walk you through is the Pro version, but I'm going to highlight to you what you can do for free and what you have to pay for. So anyone can have a free Scannable Access account. You can download the app today. You can create a free account. You'll get some of the Pro features as a trial for 30 days, and then you'll go back to having an Access account. And what that will let you do is save an unlimited amount of equipment to your app or your web app, and create a list of equipment that you have. You'll then be able to record an inspection against that equipment, a bit like this: options, inspect, give it a pass, potentially take a photo, complete the inspection, and you'll be able to show people that you have kept your inspections up to date on your equipment. The benefit of a Scannable Pro upgrade starts with the ability to add an unlimited amount of team members. So as soon as you're trying to manage equipment across 2 or more people, the Scannable Pro solution starts to make a lot more sense. After that, you'll be able to organize your equipment in Scannable Pro into different groupings, such as kit bags, locations, vehicles, clients, staff, and equipment type. And you'll be able to do a much more robust inventory management process that I'll start to unpack for you as well. Available on both apps, though, is a really convenient way for you to be able to build out your inventory and add to inventory. Now, we recommend that you do this on the mobile phone because your phone has the camera and it has the NFC functionality built into it. So I'm going to hit the button on the top right-hand corner of the app. And for anyone that haven't mentioned this yet, I'm driving what you see on the screen. This is my mobile phone. So I'm going to use the camera here to scan my new Petzl pulley, and I can scan the packaging barcode, which happens quick enough that you can't actually see it often on the camera. And it searches the database and says, we recognize that code and we think it's one of these guys. It's top of the list if it's a barcode, because we know exactly what it is. And you can review the product code, for example, and get access to all of the manufacturer's specs, certifications, etc. You can then add that to inventory and decide whether you're going to put it into the company inventory like a storeroom, or whether you're actually going to put it into your company inventory and have it assigned to you as a user at the time, which means it just looks like it's under your management. So I'm going to add it into Wanaka Height Safety Co. inventory. I'm now going to enter the serial number, and I don't have to type the serial number anymore for Petzl products. I can use the camera again. And what's happened there is we've entered the serial number, and at the same time, we have calculated the date of manufacture. Because we know it's a Petzl product and we know what the logic is behind the Petzl serial number, we can extract that information. Our next topic in this particular kind of project is to audit and confirm that all of the lifespan data that we have is correct and up to date for the majority of the products in our database. And that means that we can then tell you accurately what the expiry date is for your textiles and your plastic helmets and your harnesses and things like that. Because we know that Protos is 5 years from date of first use and Petzl is 10 years from date of manufacture. And Teufelberger Prussics depend on the material type, whether it's 2 or 5 or 7 or 10 years sometimes, and that's always been a problem. So you can basically automate a lot of that now. I'm just going to tweak the serial number because I have done this demo more than once, and I can add that to inventory. And what that means is, because you've scanned the Petzl serial number, which is called a data matrix in this example, looks like a QR code, it means that you actually don't need to put an NFC tag on immediately. You can choose to actually come back to that and just manage it by scanning it with your phone and the camera, and pull that up, and you can see that it now is in the Wanaka Heights safety. I'm actually going to assign it to myself today, and I'm going to give it a pre-use inspection. So I'll take a photo and just say, yeah, brand new. The other options in here is that you can then decide to put an NFC tag onto that. So I'm actually going to pull that up again, hit the option button and add an NFC tag. I can now stick that on the pulley. And when I come back to performing an inspection, all I'm doing is tapping the NFC tag up against the phone and pulling up that item. The other example I want to give you is, how do I handle one of these? You might recognize it as a Hipstar Flex light, and it is 5 components, not one thing, but they're sold as a single part number or product code. So in this example, there's no packaging barcode here, so I'm going to search for Hipstar Flex light, and you can see an example of the data we've got there. I'm going to pick the 3-meter version, and you can see that we've pre-built this with all of the subcomponents. So you can add that to your inventory. There's actually no serial number for a lanyard because each component has its own serial number. So I'm just going to put the data first use here. And it says, do you want to add it without a serial number? Yes. Now, Teufelberger, in the last year or so, started putting the same data matrix serial number on a lot of their products. So what you can do now is open up the Prussic within here and add the serial number. And I'm going to use the camera again. And I don't know if you saw that, but it's scanning the data matrix, calculating the date of manufacture of this Dyneema Prussic, which has a very short lifespan anyway, so you need to know that. And you can put the data first use. Oops. So we've actually already updated or put the serial number in a couple of times as examples, of course. And you can now go through and add the serial number for all of the textile products from Teufelberger. DMM don't have a data matrix today, so it's back to typing the serial number, but a little bird has told me that they've worked out how to put laser etched data matrices onto their carabiners, and so at some time in the next couple of years, you'll probably start to see that becoming more common, not just in DMM, but across a lot of different manufacturers. So that's what it looks like on the mobile phone, and I anticipate that that's where a lot of you guys would be looking to use us. We do have a bunch of information in here about how to find the antenna on your phone, because every phone has a different location for the NFC antenna. Apple is always on the top left-hand corner, opposite side of the camera, but Android can differ. It's always on the back, but you have to really take a moment to find where your sweet spot is on your phone in order to get it every time after that. So after you've used our super easy add to inventory process, your inventory will start to build up and look a bit like this. And you can see the same sort of information available here. When it was inspected, you can see all the different replaceable components on this harness, of which there are many. And you can start to see the complete history of the equipment, who inspected it, and start to track the movements as you assign it to different locations and vehicles and clients and things like that over time. Once you've built up your inventory, the next thing you need to do is create an inspection type. And you can have more than one inspection type in your business. You'll probably be doing at least once a year in Sweden. You might be doing twice a year if you're trying to reach regulations like LOLA and PURE, which are guidelines or regulations out of the UK. Or if you're a member of an organization or a society that has a best practice of 6 months or 1 month, for example, frequency, you can define that. And equally, if as a business, you want to say, we want to have a buddy check at least once every couple of weeks, and we want to prompt people to do that and know that they are doing it, you can create these different inspection types here. So we could call a thorough examination and define how frequently you want to be doing that. Really interesting, actually, just to get a gauge from anyone that's willing to share what the sort of frequency you guys are striving for is in Sweden, whether that's kind of the legal minimum or the actual best practice that you're looking for. And don't worry if it's not a public-facing piece of information just yet, because a lot of people are still trying to work out how to define and make it possible to increase their inspection frequencies as much as possible. So what we're building right now is a lovely report that will come up onto the top of your screen and tell you with some really nice graphs how you're tracking against those inspection targets. So that might be if you've set a 6 monthly inspection, we will tell you, are you up to date? Has all of your equipment had a 6 monthly inspection? If you've also applied a buddy check, so for example, you select all of your gear and you want to assign a, let's look for an example, a weekly inspection, we'll be able to track your targets of how much of your equipment have you done a less thorough examination of this week, and know which teams you need to give a bit of encouragement to do that. Or for example, look at different bags of equipment or different locations, or look at your climbing versus your rigging gear and say, yep, my climbing gear is all green, I'm happy with that, but none of my rigging gear has been inspected for 8 months. So I want to really tell our guys to put some focus on the rigging equipment for the next couple of weeks or months. Once all of your gear is inspected and you need to start showing your clients and telling the world how compliant and how much you've surpassed compliance and achieved even best practice within your business, you can download a report that looks like this. So this is a list of all the equipment in our account. And this is a PDF, so it's external to the software. You can email this to your customers, your clients, or even the health and safety executive who might have arrived on site and asked you some tough questions about your equipment. We think that this is probably halfway or under halfway finished in terms of the full richness of report that we can build. We know, for example, that arborists in the UK that are doing LOLA inspections need a few extra fields in order to be completely compliant, and we're hoping to have that finished before the A+A show at the end of the month. What's pretty cool here is I'm going to introduce you to a new concept that is one of the sort of foundations of what Scannable is. And that's basically that we are hosting a unique web address for every asset in your business. And that means that someone can click on this report and actually open up the same view that you can see of your equipment in your database or in your app. They can see it in the browser on their phone, and they can even review the history if you want to share that with them. They can review the manufacturer's guidelines and documents and just check it. And that's exactly the same thing that can happen. So, the power of that unique web address is that you can say, whose is this, or when was it last inspected? And outside of your app, you can tap your phone against the NFC tag. And sometimes this works better when the phone is locked. Oh, there you go. It has the shortcut. It comes up on the phone. And without a login to Scannable and without being part of the organization, I'm able to look at that information about this particular piece of equipment and see whether it's been inspected or not. And I can see that this one hasn't been inspected. So one more thing, and then that's all from me. At the moment, what you've seen me do is a kind of a one-by-one process where you scan a carabiner or a lanyard and you record an inspection, or you assign it to a group or a location, for example. But when you have one of the USB readers, what you'll be able to do is put together a list of the gear that you want to assign to your teammates or mobilize in your organization to a different part of the country, or even just to record an inspection against all of these items at once. So say you've performed your full inspection, everything's passed, you could then scan everything in one process and give it the same passed result. This is called multi-scan. It's available today on the web app, and one of the next big steps for us now that we have our brand new app is to build multi-scan straight into the phone so that you can then tap 20 bits of equipment or more, for example, with your phone and give it an inspection or an inventory management. So I think that's about it. Matt, Nick, if you guys have spotted gaps in what I've been saying, or we've got new stuff I've already forgotten about, or old stuff I've forgotten about, please take the chance to fill in the gap.
I think you've covered all the good bits, Rob, and I think you touched on it at the start as we're constantly building, growing, getting better. So looking forward to being able to show everyone all the latest and greatest next time as well.
Cool. Yeah, I put out a poll actually on our Instagram the other day where I asked for some questions about Scannable and this webinar in general. I got like 15 responses, and I think a lot of these people couldn't join probably because it's 9 a.m. in Sweden, and a lot of people are working. I presume that's just what it's like when you're on the opposite sides of the world. But I try to summarize some of these questions into 4 or 5 like general questions, and I thought we just could take 5 to 6, 7 minutes of answering. So first of all, there were a couple of questions asking, how has Scannable managed to gather all of this gear data? Is this something that is user generated, or is this something you've collaborated with the manufacturers on to add to your database? How does that work?
We use all sources possible to do that. We've got some great relationships. So for example, many of these manufacturers are actually running their own account within Scannable and keeping the information up to date now. Some of them have provided not quite a direct integration into their system, but some vaguely automated access to the information that they have. Some of them have provided spreadsheets and things like that. And we've filled in the gaps by looking at their websites and keeping the images and the PDFs and any of the latest specifications up to date from their websites.
Cool. And then another one, or a reoccurring one, was how can I, as a manager or as like a team manager, assign gear to my team or to my employees? That's something which I'm able to do through both the Scannable mobile and the web app. How does that work in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, absolutely. So we didn't actually look at that, so that's a good catch. There's a couple of ways we can do that. You can select items that you're able to visually identify and, for example, assign them to a member of staff. So I'll probably just say here that these are the members of staff that we have. We have two roles at the moment, member and manager. Managers can have ultimate control. Members cannot add or remove inventory from the business account. And we're starting to hear just more and more, differences, separations, and actually additional roles, inspector roles, supplier roles, etc. So that people can have the right permissions within the account. So if I open up probably Matt O'Neill, he's actively assigning himself and unassigning himself equipment. This is the gear that he's assigned himself so far, or he's been assigned. And we can jump back into the inventory screen. We could just select everything on this page, for example, and assign it to a member of the team, like Matt. Or equally, we could use that multi-scan solution where you're pulling gear off the shelf and you're able to scan it and then assign it to a member of staff.
Okay.
We have two options at the moment, actually, to do that. Some of the biggest organizations we work with don't have email addresses for all of their employees. And to be a team member, you need to accept an email invite up here. And so if you're an organization that's trying to manage gear across hundreds or thousands of employees and they don't all have a Microsoft account, for example, and they don't want to use their personal gear, you can now create a staff member in here and assign equipment within here so that you can keep track of what you've given them, even if they're not necessarily accessing it on the app. And then I'm signed in at the moment, and you can see on the app, you can see my inventory and all inventory. So all inventory is the assets within the whole business. And ultimately, you'll be able to put in a request, for example, to and ask if you can borrow this piece of equipment or take it from the stores. And my inventory is my list of equipment that I've been assigned and I'm responsible for, and I need to keep up to date, for example.
Cool. Nice. I think that's a great demo. I certainly didn't really catch all of that during the presentation, so that's a perfect one.
Yeah.
Another question that we got was, are these scannable NFC tags, are they one-time use? So if you use the scannable NFC tag on one piece of gear, are you able to use that same tag on another piece of gear at a later point, or is it a one-time use thing?
I'm going to be honest, it's typical that they're one-time use. If you've epoxy glued a tag onto a carabiner or a pulley, you're not going to get that off again and reuse it. The helmet sticker is not going to be reusable if you manage to peel it off. Neither is the rope label. The jote is not really designed to come off. Everything is designed to go on and stay on as best as possible throughout the hammering that you're going to give it. And so you could maybe put a sharp knife into the zip tie and manage to remove it and reuse it. And if you can, then absolutely, our software supports the ability to do that. But what we actually find is that across the range of products, the average tag price is about $1.70, $1.80 US dollars per tag. And it's just not going to be worth your time wrestling with a tag to save $1.80.
Got it.
Can I just jump in quickly? They are reprogrammable though. So sometimes people will program it with the wrong piece of equipment, and they can go in and reprogram it. So it's there, but you're not going to get the tag off very easily. But if you make a mistake and program the wrong item, you can reprogram it after the fact.
Okay, got it. Cool. I think that was a good summary of all the questions which we got from Instagram, and in combination with the demo that you did, Rob, I think we have answers to most of the questions. I know I appreciated it significantly, so I just thought I'd hijack your screen for a second and
Yeah, please do.
share quickly how you can go ahead purchasing this from us. So do you see my screen right now?
Mhm.
Sweet. So here we have the Arborist Butiken landing page with a nice little pink October banner. So if you're looking to purchase some of these scannable products, we actually do have a lot of them in stock, and we're probably looking to add more now after this. But you can go into the product categories, and we have a whole category that's called Scannable. If you click
Love it.
Scannable, we have it's a nice logo. It probably doesn't need to be that big. I'll need to take a look at this after
It
the
could probably be bigger, I reckon. Yeah.
I'm sitting with this on my monitor, and it's like covering the whole thing. But here we have all of the scannable products that you're able to just select, add to your basket, and we'll ship them the same day or the day after you order them. So if you're in Sweden or Scandinavia, you'll get it in a day or two. And we have a pretty large variety and selection of it here. And like I said, probably looking to stock up a little bit after this, or as this gets going in Sweden and Scandinavia. But that's just a quick look into how you're able to acquire this if you're an Arborist company or an Arborist in Scandinavia, or now even the Baltics, I should say, as well. But sweet.
Excellent.
I think that's the great overview, and we're perfect on time, which is relatively unusual for these types of webinars and meetings. So kudos to you, Rob, for steering the ship there. Do you have any closing remarks or anything before we tune out?
Oh, look, from me, it's just want to reiterate that it's been really fun to work with you guys so far. You guys are definitely leaders in the space, and to put on this webinar and the podcast and just the content that you guys put into the market, we're just really grateful to be working with you. So thanks very much for hosting it and putting it around your network, and look forward to doing more with you.
Sweet. Yeah, thank you so much for hopping on, and for everyone who joined live, and also everyone who's tuning in after the fact, which I think will be the majority of people. So thank you so much for watching, and again, thank you, Nick, Rob, and Matt for tuning in from Scannable and giving the demo, even though it's like 9 o'clock at your time in the evening. So really appreciate it. And if you have any more questions, I'm sure you can always reach out to us at Arborist Butiken, or I'm sure Scannable are happy to answer any of those questions as well. And we'll take it from here.
Hit us up on Instagram. It'd be great to chat to you.
Sweet.
Cheers,
have
guys.
a good one.